Hi, this is Nick from natsportscienceblog.com. This video is part of the Building a Monitoring System for Your Sports Team series. The video is perfect for sports scientists looking to build their own monitoring system on Excel. This video tutorial will show you how to move data from one Excel sheet onto another Excel sheet using a macro. The other Excel sheet will be where you have your database, and it's important we can perform this function efficiently to save time on a daily basis. So the background of where we are. This is our data export from any sort of monitoring system here, okay, and we need to get it into our player session database, which will then allow us to create a monitoring system and do all sorts of analysis on that data. So to do that, we need to assign labels to the data as we put it into the database. That's very important because the labels are what provides the additional information and the context on the player data in the database and will allow us to do the more complicated analysis when we have it in the player monitoring system. So here is our mock data, players down here, and then fields across the top and your data in the middle. Okay, and we need to get that into a database, so we're just going to create two extra sheets. Okay, the first sheet is going to be the template, okay, and that will be where the data is first imported into, and then the next sheet will be the database. Okay, we have some information that we know already. Okay, so for example, we know what the metrics or the data export, what it gives us, which is here. Okay, and we know the labels that we will want to assign to that data, which are here. Okay, so we know what the headings of the database will look like, so we can already take that data, just copy that and pop it in here. I'm going to transpose that. Okay, so these will be the headings of your database. Right, and we can use that again in our template here. So I'm just going to take this mock data and imagine that we've imported it into our Excel file. I'm going to paste it in here. Now it's very important that you always paste the data into the same cell. So here it's going to be B2. So I'm just going to add in a couple of extra rows there. So it will actually be B5. Okay, and up here will be where we can assign our labels to the data. So I'm just going to take these labels here, okay, and come back to the template and paste them in there. Okay, so over here will be this data with those labels assigned to it. So the player names won't change, so I can drag that down, and again I'm going to take the database headings, and it's important that these are in the same order. I'm just going to paste them in there. Okay, and here we go, we're back into the metrics here, so I'm going to press equals here, come back over there to duration, I'm going to drag that down, drag that all the way across, and just put a little table. You can spend as much time as you want making it look neat and pretty. Okay, and then these rows here and columns are where we need to have that data labels assigned to it. So the date is nice and easy. I'm just going to write the 1st of the 3rd. Okay, and what you will do is you will link this cell up with this cell here. So I'm going to write equals, click on this cell here, and I'm going to hit the F4 key, and I'm going to hit it again so that it is only locked by row and not column. So I'm going to hit enter here, and I'm just going to drag that down, and as you can see it's applied the same date to all that data. Now I'm going to go to season, okay, and what we're going to do for these three labels is create a drop down, because it's a much easier way of assigning labels to your data when you've got more than a few sort of categories you can apply. So I'm just going to go to data validation, okay, hit this drop down, hit list, click this little button there, go to my additional information, okay, and we're on season, so I'm just going to highlight that data. I'm going to hit enter, okay, and then hit OK, and as you can see we can now apply season to it. And I'm going to do the same for season period. So data validation again, list, hit this button here, come to my additional information, again highlight those two options there and press enter, and enter again, and there we go, we can assign a season period. Session type, exactly the same process, okay, additional information, and here's our session types, enter, okay, and we are done. So we've got lovely little drop downs for all of those options there, so we don't have to go around writing in a new session type every time we import a bit of data. And then all I'm going to do here is drag that across, and because we only locked it by row not column, that fills out perfectly for us, and I'm going to drag that down, and it's applied that same bit of information to all those rows of data there. And if we were to change this, it would change it for all of those players there. Brilliant. So now we can apply labels to our data. All we need to do now is move this data into the database. Because the headings are the same, we can just take this data here, copy it, come to the database, and then paste it in here. Okay, so if you paste formatting first and then paste the values, okay, you'll have your data in there. Now what we want is we want a macro that does that for us automatically. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our data exports, take our session 2, and as I said, come to our template and paste it into the same cell. Again, as you can see, that data's now been updated. It's a different session, so this will be the second. Okay, still the same season, still the same season period, but now it's going to be matchday -2. So we might change that to the third then, as we're skipping a day. Okay, now we're going to create or record a macro that moves that data. So you're going to come to this developer tab. If you don't have this developer tab, just right click the ribbon up here and customize ribbon there and select it there. We're going to hit record macro, and we're going to call it move data with no spaces, and then we're going to hit OK. Okay, yes, I've already got a macro named move data, so we're just going to overwrite that one and hit yes. Okay, now it's recording everything I do. So I'm just going to click in here because we know there will always be data in that top row. I'm going to press shift control, and I'm going to hit down, and then I'm going to hit across, and you can see that will highlight all that data for you. So now I'm going to hit control C, which copies that data, and now I'm going to come to the database sheet, and I'm going to click in on A1. Okay, now I'm going to press control down, and you can see it drops me to the last cell with something in it. Okay, now this is very important. Hit use relative references. This tells Excel to go down one cell when I hit the down button, not go to A12, because obviously we're going to have more and more data in this and we don't want it to keep on putting it into the A12 sheet. Now I'm going to come to home, and I'm going to paste in that data, values first, and then I'm going to want the formatting as well, so I'm going to paste formatting, and then I am going to come back to the developer, Okay, and just hit Control down and then stop recording. Now as you can see, we've actually just inputted that data there, so we're going to come back to the template, okay, and come back to the data exports, take our session 3, copy that, okay, and we're imagining that we're importing this data, and we're going to paste that in there. I'm going to change the date on that to the 4th, and it will now be a matchday -1. Okay, and now we need a button that will allow us to run that macro. So we're going to come to Developer, Insert, and we're going to click on that little button there, and we're just going to stick it in there. Okay, and we're going to assign that macro to that button. And now I'm going to hit this button here. Brilliant. And as you can see, it's added in that data for us. So now you can see the 4th in here and the matchday -1 here. So it's just imported that data into our table here, so without any problem whatsoever. So now I can come back into my template and say if I inputted some more data and it was a different season, okay, a different competition period and a different training type, maybe it was active recovery, and maybe it was different year up there. You can see how it changes for all those players there, so you're not messing around and assigning that for each individual player, and I can just import that there and it's done that for me there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video and it's helpful. Please tune in for the rest of the series. Bye bye.